So, like, I was debating on whether to open the show with us, the three of us, when Fee's here, singing "Oh Canada," or would maybe debating also on singing "Blame Canada" from the South Park movie. Remember that?
Yeah, but we might want to be weary of the can stuff. Did you see
Right,
what?
because we don't
Right.
want. What if we have Canadian listeners? That's where I was going, and I'm like, then they'll think we're blaming them for the Steelers being, or conversely, if we sing "Oh Canada," Canada might get mad at us because they would have fired him 6 weeks ago. They're not idiots in Canada.
Right. But then did you see what happened in Niagara Falls today?
No, what happened in Niagara Falls?
Some car busted through the border and blew up. Like they're trying to figure out if it was terrorism or not. Yeah, see that we got to stay away from Canada.
Have we ruled out Matt Canada?
I mean, listen, we have got to stay away from Canada, Canadian provinces, anything that has to do. I mean, we are further away from Canada than Mike Tomlin is these days.
Yeah. All right, then I guess we can keep it simple.
All right, welcome to another episode of 3 and Out.
Gobble, gobble, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving week. We had another episode of 3 and Out. It is week 12, where the Falcons were on a bye and still lost because Arthur Smith is still their head coach. I am your host, Wayne Cavani, and I'm joined by the best co-hosts in fantasy football, Mike Dutton and Chris Fanduel Fee Fiamano. Fee, how's the packing going for the Thanksgiving Day parade tomorrow?
It's going well. We spent all afternoon doing it, which you would think you wouldn't need to pack much, right? But we've got a lot of stuff that we're bringing with us, so we're all set and ready to go at 6:30 in the morning tomorrow.
How's Turkey Day prep going in North Carolina?
Turkey Day prep's great. I've only been to the store 3 times today, so that's not too bad.
So that means you only have to go twice tomorrow.
Probably, right? We'll see what happens. You never know. So
yeah. So we got a busy week. We got 3 games tomorrow. We're recording. It's Wednesday night, as you know. So we have 3 games on Turkey Day. We got the first ever Black Friday game, and then a full slate of games on Sunday. And they're gonna make someone play on Monday night if we make it that far. So let's just get right into buy it or BS this week. Of course, some of the big news was that the Pittsburgh Steelers fired Matt Canada. What week are we in?
12.
11. 12.
Okay, fine. They fired him 12 weeks too late. With the firing, Dutton, Kenny Pickett. Well, let's not go with Kenny Pickett. Let's go with the other guys, though. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, and the both running backs who are kind of getting points right now, do they become must starts again after the last couple of weeks have been like, maybe not?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't trust the Steelers right now. I got to see what happens, right? I really don't know what to expect. We don't know what to expect with Kenny Pickett. He's banged up. We've never really seen him play under a good offensive coordinator. There's a lot there. Stay away from the Steelers until we can figure out what's going on.
V, I see you're nodding your head yes. Are you agreeing?
I am in 100% agreement with that. He's right. We don't know what the Steelers are going to be. Sometimes when they fire a coach or an offense coordinator, things change. But I don't know that Kenny Pickett is still any good, right? So I don't know that he's going to all of a sudden bring up Deontay Johnson and George Pickens and Freiermuth. I like the idea of having to wait and see. Let's wait a week or 2 and see what they do. I mean, I don't know. I'm not buying in just yet on this.
I think that's fair. I think the positive is they're playing the Bengals, so obviously, who knows what's going to happen with that offense, right? So they might be on the field a lot. But let's keep moving. I agree with both of you too. I think you got to wait and see. But like you said, Fee, and we saw it with Antonio Pierce, if there's a coach that I feel like is going to fire his guys up and be like, okay, let's show them what we're made of, it's Mike Tomlin, right? Like that's been his calling card, is that he's the player's coach, and that's why he's still there. My only question is what was the final straw, right? Like, how did it? Nothing was different this week or this past week than it was all year. They were outgained again, this time by some quarterback that most people didn't think should be starting right now. And it was just like, it was that what broke, or was it, I don't know. I don't know. It was just,
Did you see Tomlin's quote?
no.
Oh, he was asked, what would you like to see different from the offense? And his answer was, I want to see points.
Yeah, I was gonna say the answer should have been scoring. See, I could have answered that question.
Let's move on. What's up with Kansas City's dropsies? Fee, let's just talk about this. Okay, like what? Okay, so I didn't see, as most of that listen to the show, I was in Disney this weekend, so I didn't see anything on Thursday or Sunday, but I was on the drive home listening to the Kansas City game. And when they just kept saying, he dropped a wide open pass, I went home, I have NFL Plus, I rewatched parts of the game that they were talking about. And these guys can't catch a football. Fee, buy it or BS, it's time to kind of start worrying about starting Patrick Mahomes, because if you look at the last 3 weeks, he hasn't even gotten 18 points.
Yeah. Well, I think it's BS because you never know when he's going to explode. And you also don't know, like, there aren't a whole lot of quarterbacks out there. There's tons of injuries and tons of this and tons of that. Like, there's not a whole lot of guys that you can really trust. Mahomes, you can still trust to get you those 18 points at least every week. And he's got a high ceiling, right? So it's BS that you're going to sit him or bench him or something like that. You're going to play him no matter what, most likely. But I don't know what the issue is with Kansas City's receivers, other than they're just really bad. And
but it was even Kelsey this week. Kelsey,
I know. I was just going to say Travis Kelsey had a really bad game this week as well, so that doesn't help either. But I mean, when you got guys just dropping balls like that, you're just not going to get anything done.
And to your point,
they have the most drops in the NFL. Kansas City.
By a large margin too. It was a large margin. And to your point, the chances, I'm not saying you sit him. I'm saying you worry about, like, you're not confident. Like, you draft Patrick Mahomes and you're like, I'm set at quarterback. I won't lie to you. I had Patrick Mahomes and Sam Howell this week, and I put it out there on the interwebs in a poll, and it wasn't 90% Mahomes, 10%. There was a lot of fantasy experts that were voting Sam Howell, and I'm glad I did go Mahomes because Howell completely bombed. But Dutton, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, like, I don't think the wide receivers on Kansas City could catch a good plate of ribs at a restaurant in Kansas City right now. Like, I just, like, and I don't know, like, at some point, it's not a physical ability, it's a mental thing, right? Like, it's the same baseball. Like, when hitters go in slumps, it's not that they can't hit a baseball, it's that they don't think they can hit a baseball.
Yeah.
So now it's not that these guys can't catch a football, it's that they've got plenty of film of them not catching footballs, so it's become part of their, like, oh shit, I'm wide open, am I going to catch the ball? And that's what they're thinking about rather than just catching the ball. Then it doesn't help that Travis Kelsey is then dropping passes, because now they're like, shit, even you're dropping balls. So now we all suck at catching balls, right?
And fumbling.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think, like, there's a lot of people out there that are saying somehow, some way, some magical thing is going to occur. Chiefs are going to get some wide receiver either out of retirement, or somebody's going to ask out of a contract, be cut by their team. It's not going to happen. Like, I just don't see it happening. And I think the Chiefs got to roll with what they got. And yeah, you're starting Patrick Mahomes, but to his point, you're starting him with, like, I hope he's throwing to the right guy today. And that's the other thing. Patrick Mahomes is super healthy for week 12. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not on Mahomes. It's not on Mahomes at all. But you did say one thing wrong. MVS cannot catch a ball. We have been calling that guy stone hands from Necessary Roughness for the 4 years that we've had this.
That's a valid point.
He was stone hands in full. He dropped a game-winning touchdown. And
yes,
it was like, what? Why do you throw to that guy anymore? I get you have nobody else. I take my chances bouncing it off a lineman's head so it bounces into another lineman's hands before I throw to that guy. But I want to talk about that Justin Watson tight end, who on paper, if you look at the box score, went 5 for 53 and a touchdown. That's a great day for a tight end. He had 3 drops, including the first down that not would have, but definitely could have won the game. And there were 2 routes, going back to necessary roughness, that Mahomes threw the ball, a perfect ball here.
Yep.
And Watson's over here. And it was like when the backup quarterback, I thought you were going to do one of these, and this guy, so he led the team in targets. He had 5 catches. He had 6 of the worst other plays you could possibly run.
Yeah.
But on paper and fantasy, it was a good day. And it was just like, man, what happened? It was brutal to watch. But again, I agree with both of you. It's not on Mahomes. I like Fee's answer to the next question. So we'll start with you. Buy it or BS. Tim Boyle, the question I wrote in our pregame sheet was Tim Boyle hurts or helps Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. I'm going to say, Fee, buy it or BS. Tim Boyle hurts Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, and so my answer is, and I'm not sure I could say this, but who the beep is Tim Boyle?
It's a fair question.
Answer. That's my answer. I'm gonna answer your question with a question.
It's fair. He's a journeyman. I think he went to Eastern Kentucky. Does that help you at all?
No. Nothing. I got nothing. Yeah, I don't know who that is, so I'm gonna say it hurts those guys.
Yeah, worse than Zach Wilson. So is a non-entity, someone we don't know, worse than Zach Wilson? That's a good question.
I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that the Jets are able to replace Zach Wilson with a quarterback who's worse.
It is. You're right.
I don't know.
Dutton, what do you think?
I say, why are we talking about this? Move on, because the Jets blew it, right? Let's go back 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. They had opportunities for some backup quarterbacks. They could have traded a pick or 2. They could have had Josh Dobbs. The Jets blew it. And, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And the stupid prize that they have won is starting Tim Boyle on the first Black Friday game.
Yeah. So. Speaking, good segue, Dutton. Yeah. Buy it or BS, Dutton. Black Friday afternoon game. Dumbest thing ever.
I don't think it's the dumbest thing ever. I think 13 weeks everyone would have been excited about Aaron Rodgers against Tua at 2:30 on a Friday afternoon. We can just do nothing about football. But I mean, we've had some very bad Thursday night games for a long time, so why not try Friday night? I mean, I have a whole. Let Fiamano answer and then come back to me. I'm going to tell you what we need to do to fix this problem.
Okay, Fee, go ahead.
Yeah. So what time is the game on Friday? Is it really at 2:30?
Like 3 o'clock.
I think
I think coverage starts at 2:30. 3 o'clock is kickoff.
3 o'clock is kickoff?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So that's dumb to me, right? My answer is more days of football is fine with me. I'm happy with that. More days of football is great. I the more football for me, the better. Especially on other days. But at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't like that so much because that's right in the middle of the day. There's lots of other stuff going on. I mean, for me, it's hard to watch games as it is. So then you put something right in the middle of the day and so I'm not going to be able to watch this game. If it were at night, at least maybe, it would be like a night game and I could, sit down and watch at the end of the day, something like that. Like a Monday night or a Thursday night game. Why not make it a Friday night game?
Yeah.
The reason it's not at night is because they start college football rivalry games Friday night, and they didn't want to interfere with it.
Good point.
Yeah, all right. I mean,
my thought is that it was Amazon's way.
Definitely.
To go to the store and log in on Amazon Prime to watch this game, and I am fearful that it's going to be about this big, and there's going to be ads around the game.
I totally agree with you.
Into a huge Black Friday Amazon ad right here.
Interesting.
I agree.
The game is going to be a side factor, and I think it's the dumbest thing that we've ever heard. And I think it's going to
could be a very valid point.
I
didn't even think of
colossal failure. Dutton, you said you wanted Fee to answer, and then
so here's the thing, right? we have talked before on this show about the stupidity of the buys, and we have talked before on this show about the unequity or inequity of buys. Oh, we have our buy in week 4 and we have our buy in week 15. Like, I don't think that's fair, right? Like, there's something wrong with that. So here's my plan. Everyone should have had a buy last week. The entire league should have been on a buy last week. And then we should have started football tomorrow with the Lions and the Cowboys, and then whatever Thursday night game we get. Then if they want to do football on Friday, do football on Friday. And then we should have had like 2 football games on Saturday. And you know what? You could have made those like the international games because you gave everyone a bye last week. So those games could have been early in the morning on Saturday, right? That would have been fun for people. Then you go right into your normal Sunday games. And then you have your Monday night game to end Thanksgiving weekend, and you are done with buys. Everybody had their buy at one time. You could have run like mid-season awards last week. You could have run like playoff predictions. You could have run like early draft. There's a whole plethora of TV that we all would have fallen for, and then we would have had great football this weekend.
I'm not opposed to a mid-season or a full week off buy. I think that is a good idea. I mean, every other sport kind of does the break, right? Like you have a break where people don't play. And
right. The All-Star break in hockey, the All-Star break in baseball, the All-Star break in basketball. They all get it. They don't get one in football. They get their bye, but everyone doesn't get it at the same time, which isn't fair.
Fee, you look like you had something to add.
Well, I was gonna say that it would never happen. And the NFL would never have a week of no football during football season.
Yeah,
it would never happen. It wouldn't work financially and every other way. While Dutton makes great points and valid points where they could have all these other things and things people probably would watch, I don't know that it would, bring in that kind the full audience that actual football would, every week. And so I just don't think that the NFL would ever do something like that. But I agree with Dutton. I do.
Yeah. I'm going to go off script here. Not that we have a script, but off spreadsheet here and ask one last question. I think, Fee, this affects you. Okay. Jake Browning. Yes, Jamar Chase is not a must start right now. Fee, start with you. He's on your team, isn't he?
He is. I have him in 3 different leagues, actually, Jamar Chase. And in our league, I'm sitting him this week because I'm playing Michael Pittman, who I'm in love with this week. But I'm going to sit him until I find out that Browning is good enough to keep Chase, relevant, week to week. He might just be a matchup play. I don't even know. Like, I'm so scared about it. I'm not even playing him this week. So, yeah. And Jamar Chase is a guy that you don't do that with. You don't just sit Jamar Chase, but I am. So, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wing it this week and roll the dice and hope for the best. I don't know. I mean, I'm buying that he's a sit this week. That's for sure. But he's definitely not an every week starter.
Yeah. Dutton, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, and I'm actually trying to pull it up right now because I was thinking when Fee was talking. Like, I'm trying to think about our league specifically, the top 10 picks. Who is playing still of the top 10 picks?
That's amazing,
right? Like, I mean,
especially at quarterback. Look at the conversations we're having. Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito did not replace just Daniel Jones. He replaced Tyrod Taylor too, right? Like,
right.
We're on like 3rd string guys on way too many teams, right? The Browns have had 3 quarterbacks. The Giants have had 3 quarterbacks. Who knows what's going to happen with the Bengals if this guy's not good, right? Like,
right. I mean, right. You don't know what's going to happen.
What's happening this year. And then, Thursday night football, Dutton, I think, did you text, during the game, like, are we going to rethink Thursday night football when we on national TV lose Mark Andrews and Joe Burrow in the same freaking game? Like, you're talking about 2 first-round draft picks there. I'm sure Burrow definitely. I'm sure Mark Andrews sells a whole bunch of jerseys in this league. He is one of the best Ravens. It's just like we're the star power that we're losing this year.
Here you go, really quick, just so we know. For our league specifically, Justin Jefferson, first pick, IR. Okay. Christian McCaffrey, he's still playing. You're fine. Jamar Chase, you don't know what to do with him. Bijan Robinson, you don't know what to do with him. Travis Kelce not having the year you expected. Austin Eckler, he's fine. Tyreek Hill, he's banged up and hurt, but when he's playing, he's great. Nick Chubb out for the year. Josh Jacobs, his coach has been fired. You don't know what's going on. Saquon Barkley's on his third quarterback. Those were the top 10 picks of our league, and you don't know if you can play a lot of them.
That's fair. It's fair. Fee, you had your hand raised. Very nice of you.
Yeah, I have Mark Andrews too.
Yeah. So yeah, you're
So
feeling.
you love Thursday night football, Fee.
It feels very much like the 1987 season, and a lot of the three of us are definitely able to remember that, and a lot of our listeners are. And there were just weeks you're like, "What are we watching?" Right?
Who are these people? Right,
Who
right.
are these people? Like in Major League when everyone's reading the rosters. Who the hell is this?
Who the heck are these guys?
This guy is dead. Anyway, let's move on to locks of
They're
the
still shitty.
yeah. Locks of the week. I don't know how it works anymore. Last week we pushed. I was right in the way that in the assessment that the Texans spread was too high. But they wound up pushing. And it was the Cardinals did cover the 5 points. So that's our first push that we've ever had in the history of the show. I think I don't think we're doing that.
Yeah.
But hey, at least if you don't lose money, then it's a win in my book. So let's move on to locks of the week for this week. Dutton, we'll start with you, Dutton.
Really quick, it's the Vikings -3.5 against the Bears. Josh Dobbs is not the reason they lost to the Broncos, and he's the reason that the Vikings might make the playoffs.
Fee.
I'm rolling with the Houston Texans.
I love it.
Plus 1.5 against Jacksonville. I'm still not a believer in Jacksonville. Yes, they destroyed last week, but that's not happening again this week against Houston.
Is there something I don't understand that the Saints are okay? They're on the road, but the Saints are getting a point against a Falcons team that has lost 3 games in a row to 3 of the worst scenarios in the world. Is Derek Carr out? Like, are people hurt or something that I'm missing?
Not that I'm aware of, other than the Saints are a bad team.
The Falcons lost to a 1-8 team. 1-8. I'm gonna say go the Saints +1 unless Derek Carr's from Wednesday night. Unless I know Michael Thomas went on the IR, but it wasn't like he was like a major weapon.
Carr is banged up. Is Jameis gonna play?
Even if Jameis is playing, it's better than what the Falcons are putting out at quarterback.
Have they named the starter yet going into the game?
Like the Saints. We're picking the Saints.
I do like the Texans. Also, just so you know, Fee, the line I saw this morning, the line when you put it on the spreadsheet, the line was right, but now the Jaguars are giving 2. It's up to 2. So I like that game.
Oh, okay. Wow, really? It moved that way?
Yeah. Well, so the Texans are +2.
So everyone's betting on Jacksonville then?
I guess so.
Wow.
And it's in Houston. Man, if Houston wins this game,
they're in first place all by themselves.
I don't understand why was this game not flexed to Sunday Night Football?
Because who we got? We probably have to watch the Browns. Hold
on. You talk about Fiamano's stuff, and I'll tell you who Sunday Night Football is.
It's Ravens and Chargers. I just said that.
Oh gosh, that is so much worse than the Texans Jaguars would have been so fun.
I agree. But okay, so wait, who did we lock in?
The Saints.
Now we're locking in the Saints. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Fee, I made an extra request on you before the show. We're moving on to Fanduel Fee stacks of the week, and I want you to get started with some Thanksgiving Day stacks before you give us your main slate.
You did, and I'm happy to go there. The Thanksgiving Day slate is always like a fun one. It's just kind of like a one where you kind of throw a couple bucks at it. You don't go nuts. You just do it. You enter a few contests and you hope for the best. It's only 3 games, so it's hard to kind of get different. Because everybody's going to be trying different lineups, and there's not a whole lot that you can get different with. So, but my Thanksgiving Day stacks look like this. There's 2 that I really like, and I'm guessing that a lot of people are going to be on them as well because they're probably 2 of the best teams that are playing. But one is the Cowboys I really like them this week with Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. I would even throw in there. They're not going to be able to run the ball. So I'm all about their passing game this week. And then Thanksgiving Day stack number 2 is the Lions. And I wrote down a Lions onslaught. Now, you can only play 4 guys from the same team, but if I could, I'd play like 5 or 6. But that lineup would look something like Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. I would throw David Montgomery in there too. Laporta, the Lions defense. You can mix and match any number of those guys. I would even play Gibbs and Montgomery together. That might get you a little different. I like that a lot. And actually, I would like playing those 2 guys and leaving Goff off of that lineup and going a different route at quarterback. I think that would be a really good way to go for the Thanksgiving Day slate. So yeah, Cowboys and Lions are the way to go for Thanksgiving.
I like it. So let's move on to the main slate and just keep it rolling.
Yeah, main slate. So this week was tough for me, just because the teams and guys that I like are kind of a little unconventional, maybe a little cheaper, which is, I mean, it's good because you can get higher salary guys into your lineups. But I'm going to start everybody off with the Colts this week. Gardner Minshew and Michael Pittman, 6,700 and 7,600 respectively, playing in Tampa Bay, who cannot stop the pass at all. They're 28th in the league against the pass. They're decent against the run. So maybe they bottle up Jonathan Taylor, but I really like Gardner Minshew and Michael Pittman to kind of put on a show this week. Downs is banged up. They have some injuries on offense, the Colts do, but Minshew and Pittman I think are mainstays. And if you can get those two, one or both of those guys in your lineup, I think you got a good thing going to start with. Game number 2, we talked about the Houston Texans. So I really love CJ Stroud. He's only 7,700 this week. I love Tank Dell. I know he's been going nuts the last 3 weeks, but I expect that to continue. He's 7,800, so he's priced up a little bit against Jacksonville. But I mean, there's no reason to think that the Texans should slow down by any means, especially against Jacksonville. It's not like there's some juggernaut on defense. And you can even come back in that game with Calvin Ridley, who's super cheap at 7,100. I actually like some pieces on the Jacksonville side of the ball, whether it's Ridley or Christian Kirk. But you can come back with either one of those guys. And the third stack I like this week is the Rams, and Matt Stafford is 6,900. The only thing that scares me about that is his thumb injury. But he's had time to rest. I know Cooper Kupp is injured, but that's why I'm going Puka here. Stafford is 6,900. Puka is 8,200. They're playing Arizona, who's terrible. And you can come back in that game with someone like Trey McBride at tight end at 6,100. So I like that stack as well.
I like it. Obviously I like the Texans pick. Let's move on to how did we do last week on our starts and sits before we get there? We did pretty well. Yeah. We did say to sit Trevor Lawrence. We also said to sit Lamar Jackson, who we said to sit for like 3 weeks in a row, and we were right, and he finally had a good game. So let's move on to this week. Again, I didn't make any picks. I'll make them on the fly. So Dutton, we'll start with you at quarterback. Who are you starting this week?
CJ Stroud against the Jaguars. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't know if the Jaguars win. I want them to win. I mean, I don't want the Texans win. I want them to win because I think it's a fun story. But either way, I think it's a high-scoring game to CJ Stroud.
Let's just call him CJ MVP Stroud moving forward, please.
CJ Roy MVP Stroud?
Yeah. Fee, quarterback.
Yeah, I just talked about it in the stacks. Gardner Minshew playing against Tampa Bay. I wanted to dig deep on this one, and I like Minshew this week. But giving you fantasy points.
Can we talk about the fact that we may have a Zappy versus DeVito matchup this week because Bill Belichick hasn't named a starter yet. Like, what is going on in the NFL? That's outlandish to me.
My team is going to keep winning here against all.
Yeah, you're gonna win all these games to make yourself not even close to having the chance to pick a good quarterback.
It's eating me alive. All I want the Giants to do is lose, and they're gonna just win games, and it's so annoying.
I'm gonna say to start Bryce Young against the Titans because the Titans make quarterbacks look good. I feel like.
Yeah, but have you seen Bryce Young play?
Yeah, he's better than the Tommy DeVito versus Bailey Zappi matchup that we're gonna have to watch. Imagine if Drew Lock has to go against the 49ers on Thursday Night Football this week.
Drew Lock.
Oh my goodness, what are we talking about in the NFL? Yeah, so I'll throw. I mean, Go ahead.
Is he better than Tim Boyle?
We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know. We've never seen Tim Boyle play.
Of course, I'm going to hitch my wagon to Stroud, but whatever you guys want to do. Stroud?
Yeah, I'll go with Stroud. Yeah.
Okay, Stroud it is. Fee, I like your start at running back. Go ahead.
I'm going with Rachaad White. Indy's defense is not great, and Rachaad White has been fantastic for fantasy because he's been catching a ton of balls. They throw the ball out of the backfield. Baker throws him the ball all the time. So he's getting tons of volume, tons of looks. He's on the field all the time. And he runs the ball too. He hasn't been great running the ball.
Not very well.
But he gets tons of catches and tons of yards
that he does.
Receiving. So he's great for fantasy. Start Rachaad White.
Dutton.
Yeah, I'm starting Gus Bus against the Chargers because the Chargers can't stop anybody, and the Ravens are going to get to the 2-yard line at least 5 times. So Gus Edwards is locked in for 3 touchdowns.
At least 5 times.
I love the Rachaad White. The guy finds the end zone every week, it feels like.
Yeah. He's not a running back, though. We have to call him a different, like, you know how Taysom Hill is not really a tight end? Rachaad White should not be considered a running back because he doesn't really run the ball. It's only because Baker can't throw the ball very far.
All right. No, he's not. Like, he averages like 3 yards a carry. He absolutely does. You're right.
Right.
Can I say to start Montgomery, or is that like obvious? Or what about even Singletary? I mean, Devin Singletary is he a must start all of a sudden? Like, this guy's on fire.
Yeah,
he is on fire. I don't know that he's a must start.
Yeah.
I'm throwing him in there as my start of the week, Singletary, but that doesn't mean that's who we have to go with.
I like White. I mean, he's going to have 6 carries for 5 yards and then 14 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Let's move on to wide receiver Dutton.
Mike Evans against the Colts, because even though Baker can't throw the ball very far, when they get to the red zone, he does look for Mike Evans.
He does.
Mike Evans is lethal in the red zone. So I'm starting Mike Evans.
Fee.
Yeah, I'm staying with that game, and I'm going with Michael. And I'm going with Michael Pittman. Like I said earlier, the Colts are going to have to throw the ball. They're not going to be able to run it on Tampa Bay. So roll with Pittman this week.
Are we literally sitting here and insinuating that Baker Mayfield versus Gardner Minshew is going to be the game of the week? Is that where we are?
No, we're just saying it's going to be more exciting than people expected it to be, because
it's going to be 48-45 and just a ton of.
I'm going to want to watch that game over like Tim Boyle.
Right. That's what I was about to say. We have Tim Boyle playing. We have who knows going against Tommy DeVito.
Tommy D.
I'm going Tommy D. I like it. I'm going Olave against the Falcons because I'll take anybody against the Falcons. But I do like the Mike Evans pick here because I agree. He's a big. I mean, he just does what he does every day, every game, every year. I feel like so.
I can't believe Mike Evans was like a round 3 draft pick.
I picked him in the last round in our league.
I like Pittman though. I like Pittman better in this pick. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry. Last round. That is absurd.
Last round. Fee, tight end.
I'm starting T. Dotton in the same game.
Got too much confidence in Baker Mayfield. He still has confidence in Baker Mayfield, listeners.
Baker, baby.
Dutton.
Turd Ferguson against the Commanders. Why not? Enjoy your turkey while Turd's running down the end zone. Or down
Don't
to the
play Turd Ferguson.
Turd Ferguson. I'm going with a guy that burned us by saying he was our sit last week, but Njoku has put together like 4 straight solid weeks. So I would say, who are they playing? The Broncos are kind of good lately, but I'll still stick with Njoku. I like Turd Ferguson just so we could say Turd Ferguson.
Indy is like 30th in the league against tight ends.
That's a huge stat. Hey, really quick, Broncos defense. We're going to start Kate Otten. Did you know that the Broncos defense, after giving up 70 points, is only giving up 17 points a game?
Yeah,
they're on pace to be like one of the best defenses in the history of the NFL, and they gave up 70 points this year.
Yeah.
Like, you take that game out, and they're down to what, like 13 points a game?
Yeah. It's crazy. So 3-and-out starts of the week. CJ Stroud at quarterback, Rachaad White at running back, Michael Pittman at wide receiver, and Cade Otton at tight end. Let's move on to the sits. Dutton.
He's been playing too well of late, and he's going up against a tough sitting Russell Wilson against the Browns.
The Browns defense is pretty solid. Fee.
They are. I'm sitting Tua going against the Jets. We all know that their defense is really good, and I think that the Dolphins try to run the ball more this week.
Who are they? Hold on, before I say this, I gotta see who. I'm gonna say sit Josh Allen because I love to say sit Josh Allen, and he can't have 2 good weeks in a row anymore. This is why we can't have nice things. I think.
Who are they playing?
I think Russ. They're playing the Eagles.
The Eagles.
I think Russ is a solid sit because he has been playing pretty well. He's been getting fantasy numbers, but he hasn't been throwing for 200 yards a game. It's a very weird season for him, but he is getting fantasy numbers.
And here's my aversion to Fee's Tua pick. Like, I hear you, Fee, that the Jets, but I mean, Josh Allen ripped them apart last week.
And who the heck are you sitting Tua for?
Right.
Like
Tim Boyle, obviously.
Tommy DeVito. Of course. Browning.
Ooh, Browning. I forgot about him. Totally.
Running back, Fee.
I'm sitting Josh Jacobs this week. The whole change of coach thing has changed his role in that offense. And Antonio Pierce is all about running the ball, but and Jacobs is doing that, but he's not catching the ball anymore.
Yeah.
Right. He I think he had like 1 catch or something like that, and on like 2 targets or something like that. Whereas the whole, first 9 weeks of the season, whatever it was, he was catching the ball a ton out of the backfield, and it vaulted him up to the top of, the running back charts. But the last week, he hasn't had that same role. And yes, he's going to run the ball, and yes, he'll pick up his yards. But if Las Vegas can't score, that's going to be tough for Josh Jacobs to kind of give you the points that you expect from him.
Dutton.
He is 74.7% of their offense this year in terms of yards and touching the ball, which means the Steelers will now look for Joe Mixon. So you're going to have to sit Joe Mixon this week to figure out what Jake Browning's doing back there.
I'm going to tell you to sit, what's his name? Zach Charbonnet. I think he's going to be a hot pick because what do we call him? KW 3 Sticks is out this week. I think everyone's going to jump all over this guy, but he's playing the 49ers, and we got a good 49ers team. I think that a lot of people are he's like 5,900 in Fanduel too. I looked at that before we came on. I think a lot of people are up on him, and I think it's going to be a bust.
Yep.
I like that idea. Charbonnet.
I also like saying Jacobs though, because I agree with Fee. His role is out there now. And I will always say to sit Joe Mixon. You know that. I am not a Joe believer. Let's move on to wide receiver Fee.
Yeah, I'm sitting Jamar Chase because I'm sitting him personally. So until I can find out and see what Browning's all about, and if he can get Chase the ball, I think I got to sit him.
Dutton.
DK against the Niners. Geno might be playing, but he's also going against the Niners defense, and he's banged up, and the Niners are going to be like, okay, we'll just guard DK. So, yeah.
I'm going to tell Fee, please don't hate me. I'm going to tell you to sit Terry McLaurin because I'm over this guy this year.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are tough. And I think we saw more of the real Sam Howell that we're going to see if you look at the Redskins, the Commanders' schedule. I think we're about to see who the real Sam Howell is. I know he's had a great
about to stand up
point, and I think this is it's gonna come crashing to earth. But yeah, I think let's go bold and sit Jamar Chase. I don't know how bold it is, but I think that's who we sit.
Yeah.
Tight end Fee. Let's start it off because we got a fight on our hands.
Yeah, I'm sitting Turd Ferguson. Damn it. Playing against Washington. I think the Cowboys have so many other weapons, and Ferguson hasn't done much lately, so I'm sitting him.
Dutton.
Cole Kmet against the Vikings because the Bears don't do much.
Well, Justin Fields, Kmet was doing great with Bajan. Justin Fields for the tight end.
Right.
I got to look for a tight end. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you to sit. Do the Giants have a tight end?
No.
Bellinger.
Oh yeah, I like Bellinger.
He only has one eye.
Really? Oh yeah, last year he got that injury. That's right. Tyler Higbee because he stinks. That's my sit. Let's go. I don't know who to go here. Cole Kmet, I guess.
I can't sit Ferguson. I see Ferguson having like 7 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown tomorrow.
Man, I hope not.
All right, so your 3 and out sits of the week are Russ Charbonnet at running, Russell Wilson at quarterback, Charbonnet at running back, Jamar Chase at wide receiver, and Cole Kmet at tight end. Gentlemen, anything before we let Fee go get some early sleep since he's got to be on the subway going to New York City for the largest parade of the year?
No, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy Turkey Day. Eat lots of food, watch lots of football, and have fun.
Enjoy it.
And as always, we're grateful that you are our listeners, for whoever's out there listening, and for yet our 4th Thanksgiving show. We'll see you next week on 3 and Out.